move by the government, and they're saying that in addition to their concerns about the job loss, which you have spoken about, there's the issue of, okay, so those who will remain in the system, it appears that, according to them, that they might get to wear the hats of 2 or 3 people, all in a bid to save costs, the cost of governance. And so they are also saying that this implementation committee should also look at how they will, protect, these people if they have to work, if not longer hours, but then, do more work than they have always been doing.
I want to believe that the committee put in place is very fluid, and they are not too strict to their instructions and all that. And the Labour have an inroad. They have the ear of the government. They can write down their positions and send it to government, right? The committee will also look into it, you understand, see how these interests can be carried together.
They can also be part of this committee so that they can push their own interests.
Labour will also have members there. The civil service, the head of the civil service is going to be a member, right? So they have an inroad into it.
Let's look at the intervention, because that is also bound to happen at some point. It happened in the Buhari administration, the intervention of the National Assembly, and observers at the time also said, perhaps that was why we didn't get to see this document seeing the light of the day. And how is the executive going to work with the National Assembly? Many of these agencies are backed by law. They are creations of law, which was done in the National Assembly by the legislature. What gray areas, how do you think these gray areas of marrying the consents of the legislature, of the executive, how do you think they should be addressed?
Well, these are part of the terms of reference that have been given to the committee and all that. Definitely they will reach out to the National Assembly. The National Assembly will sit down over this matter and look at this very, very strictly, and I believe they will do what is best for the nation.
Okay, so let's look at, if we are saying that we should reduce the ministers, the ministries and agencies, what about reducing ministers? We need 48.
If you look at that, that is within the jurisdiction of the president. He knows how he wants to govern and carry out his operation. He knows how he wants to simplify his own duties, and of course, extend more powers for things to move better. I think he will do the right thing when that report is sent back to him, and if there's a need to prune down the number, definitely he would definitely do the right thing.
Do you think there's a need? Since we are looking at pruning down ministries and agencies, do you think there's a need to have reduced cabinets?
Looking at the jurisdiction in which they cover, right, and looking at how we can use those jurisdictions to bring in more resources to the Nigerian state, I see nothing wrong in that number. But again, it is the jurisdiction of the president to take his decision, right? And if need be, definitely he will prune it down.
And of course, at the end of this, if or when, let's be optimistic now, when this report is implemented, a sizable amount of billions of naira are said to be, that will be saved, so to speak. And people have said it's also important for the government to also be transparent in how much is being generated from the mergers and all of that, of these agencies, and also for the government to be open about what it wants to do. Let's quickly have you speak on that first before I touch on another point.
Well, there is a bill called Freedom of Information that has been passed into law. The National Assembly is there to carry out their own sundry legislative matter. The civil society is there to also interface with the National Assembly and, of course, with the executive. I think the question of transparency is very, very germane. And whatever inquest that people need to carry out, they should be free enough to approach these structures of government, and definitely answers will be given to them.
And where do you feel